was dating somebody on a longer term basis, thought she was the good girl, she can never do anything to harm me. But closer to the end of the relationship, I spent the night with her, woke up in the morning, she spent the night with me. There was a fight, she decided to walk out of the conversation, not complete it, and go out that night with her girlfriend. Me sitting there like a pleb thinking, whatever, no big deal. Turns out her and her girlfriend go out and she finds some guy in the club, spends the night with him, wakes up in the morning and spends the morning with him, and off she goes. A few weeks later, she tries to reconcile with me as if nothing happened. All women have the capacity to behave in a fashion that will surprise you fellows. I'm not saying that you should go around expecting it to happen or fishing for signs or signals that it might happen. The way that I view red pill awareness is basically to navigate through life with the understanding that these types of things can't happen.
Y'all, one of my coworkers ran me down at Target, and she finally thought she had her little opportunity to tell me what she really thought about my page and my song. She said, Brandon, I really have to tell you something. I said, Michelle, I'm gonna stop you right now. We don't get along at work. I'm not on the clock. I don't have to listen to what the fuck you have to say right now. More importantly, your life is full of chaos, hypocrisy, and inconsistency. Why should I give a fuck about what you think about anything? I will see you at work tomorrow.
Because if I could explain to anybody how lonely pregnancy is, I can't put it into words. I'm just so like frustrated with how I feel. Now you sing,
you let him hit it raw. You didn't have second thoughts. Now you a single mom. Now you a single mom.
I finally got the message, you know. He didn't love me. He didn't even like me. But he liked the money. Oh yeah. So
I have been so hesitant to post about this for two reasons. Number one, I don't like negativity and I don't want to be like the bearer of bad news. Number two, I didn't want to believe it. But after doing so much research and getting a lot of messages, I'm going to just deliver the unvarnished truth to you guys. I'm just going to lay it out straight. We're in a dating crisis. Not basically, we are. That's what's happening. So let me look at my research here because I don't want to mess it up. So men looking for casual dates and our relationships is down 50%, 50, since 2019. Not since 1970, since 2019. Right.
And that's a short time ago, 2019, just a few years ago.
Right before the pandemic, down 50%. They're not looking, which means if you're a woman looking, they don't give a shit. So as this trend continues, by 2040, 45% of women, 45% of women between the ages of 20 and 45 will be single and childless.
Men are happy to walk away marriage because it is like a prison.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You gonna give me a hug or what? Oh no, that's lame.
That's the traditional way.
Yeah, that's lame.
No, it's not. It's
Very
respectful.
Lame. No, lame.
No?
Lame.
Oh,
lame.
well, you can just sit down then.
Well, you can stand up.
Or you could just sit down.
Oh, I'm gonna walk out then.
Oh Air hugs.
She didn't want to stand up. Typical feminist. I mean, you know, it is what it is. You got to play the game, guys. This is how women are nowadays. You know, they want to sit there and think, oh no, I'm not going to stand up. And it's like, okay, cool. Now I'm going to demolish you in this debate.
I just think marriage is a no. In today's day and age, I mean, there's obviously the tradition component if you're religious, but you know, when it comes to the government involvement and the potential financial ramifications of having to unwind a marriage, it does not make sense. So don't get married, guys. Don't do it. You do, but you could have a life partner, for example, but you just don't need the government involved.
Exactly
in that.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And fully want the whole white picket fence. We are husband and wife, but I just don't feel the need to go and sign some paper that lets them know that we are.
Yep.
The whole life partner thing might be a nice idea for some people, but even without a formal contract with the government involved with a marriage license, the pitfall is that being together constitutes a common law marriage. How do you get around that?
women are not desirable right now. Everyone's a Kim Kardashian clone. I asked you earlier, what don't men want? And you said promiscuity. Well, that seems about the only thing that's being offered right now. When I open my Instagram and I've got butt cheeks and I'm going, people are like, I don't understand why no one wants to, this woman's been married 4 times. I'm like, well, I can understand it, because even if men think they want it in the short term, when you see a girl, she's half naked, she looks good. Yeah, sure. You probably do want to have sex with her. I bet you're wired that way. You're hardwired that way. Yeah. But then what happens after you have sex with her and you realize that so did 20 other dudes 100%. In the same week, you don't want her.
You nailed it. You absolutely not really nailed it.
A guy I knew lived with his GF, and he told me that he had to break up with her because they were together for almost 7 years. He was afraid that the government was going to view their relationship as a common law marriage, and he had gone through a divorce when he was younger. He figured that he'd break up with her for a while, and then get back with her at a later date to start over. It ended up being a moot point, because a year later, they got married and stayed that way until he passed away.
Me calling my ex-husband while we were separated because I was having a panic attack and he was my safe person. Him coming to pick me up even though I was the one divorcing him. I completely understand this. I did it several times. I struggle with the sadness of the decision, but it was needed. So your ex-husband is needed, but he's your ex-husband. Mine didn't come. I go through them alone now, and it hurts every time. There is a disconnect happening where women are leaving their men yet expecting them to stay and keep performing their husbandly duties. Do you think if he called her having a panic attack that she'd even pick up the phone? Being expected to constantly provide and care for people who have given up on them is not good for men's souls and their growth. It is beating them down mentally. Even if it's not your intention, it is so incredibly manipulative to break up with a guy and then expect him to console you through the breakup.
We frequently witness situations when men are singled out, made to answer for their actions, and told that because they have a good income, they should give their wives or live-in girlfriends an allowance. You give them a particular sum of money. It's insane that men are now beginning to be seen as financial violators and punished for mistreating their spouses by placing them on a budget.
Why is a sexless marriage so damaging? In a healthy marriage, you have sex. And unless there are extenuating circumstances, a reason why that can't be, if both people are physically able to have sex, they should be. That is the mode of a healthy relationship. However, many of us get into what we call an intimacy withdrawal. It's like our bank accounts, our emotional accounts, our physical accounts, our relational accounts have become over withdrawn. We are in a negative balance. Leave a comment if this sounds familiar to you. Like, here's an example of what we often see. Sometimes maybe a wife and a husband will be home at the end of the day, and the wife wants to share something with her husband, and the husband's on his phone and he's checked out. And the wife does not feel heard and does not feel like her husband is emotionally supportive of her.
Men are delaying marriage. They know the probability of a marriage without intimacy or intimacy being used as a weapon against them is too great these days. Women are changing to become more manly. Males are changing to become more feminine. Feminism has progressed to the point where, in my opinion, it no longer achieves the gender equality it previously did when, as you are aware, women wanted to vote, own cars, and have jobs. Now they own that. But in my perspective, any movement must either succeed in achieving its objective or terminate. However, the problem with feminism is that it has developed into a toxic form in which it has become a supremacist movement determined to destroy Western civilization. Atomic families are being destroyed by it.
Your partner, spouse, husband, wife, they're supposed to be up here, above almost everything else, including yourself. So I know that if he doesn't want me to do something, he has a good reason for it, and I know that he has my best interest at heart, just like I do for him. So I can be independent, opinionated, and be my own woman while still respecting and listening to my man.
So many women are not reacting well to this, but she did not say, if my man says no, I listen. What she said was, I respect my husband because he respects me.
I have known too many men whose lives, health, and finances have been ruined by toxic marriages for me to believe marriage is a good proposal for modern American men. The solution to the problem is staring society in the face. It wouldn't cure the problem, but could improve it. And that is an agreed-upon written contract going in, rather than the unwritten contract we currently act upon. No assumptions as far as rights and responsibilities are concerned. It's not ideal, I know, but it could improve on a broken system.
What is a time where you felt that you failed that you learned a valuable lesson from?
That's such a hard question. Getting divorced is a big lesson.
Okay.
Yeah.
How come? What happened?
For a long time, you know, like in your 20s and 30s, like getting married was a big goal, and I got married. And then I realized that that's not everything. And what I learned through being married was that knowing who you are, knowing your values, and knowing your non-negotiables is so much more important than anything else. It could be more important than the person that you love. And that was a huge lesson for me.
So do you think you didn't know yourself before getting married?
I think I didn't really know how important my values were to me before I got married.
What is true love like, in your opinion?
When I find out, I'll let you know.
Why did it not work, if you don't mind me asking?
Because I wanted it to work so much that I was willing to overlook aspects of him and myself that didn't align with my true values, and that's why it didn't work.
There is nothing wrong with women wanting men to chase after them. Women in general want to feel needed more than men do. That's a universal thing, and I don't think anything we say or do can change that. The only problem is when it comes to marriage or being together, the woman expects everything on her terms, instead of working together as it should. People in this generation find reasons to quit, rather than find reasons to stay and grow. The trust between men and women has never been this low in our lifetimes.
Why would I get married? Why?
Yeah.
There's no actual reason to get married. It can complicate things. I have some friends that just have a woman they love and they had kids and they just didn't get married. I find them happier than those that get married.
There's something about it. I don't know what it is, but I feel like once you put the marriage title on it, there's just this
like
added pressure
too, right? Yeah.
that like the relationship doesn't need.
Did you hear about this new food that like completely destroys sex drive in women?
No.
Wedding cake.
We don't really have marriages anymore. Since the government became involved, they are civil unions, not marriages. A marriage is a religious institution that has nothing to do with the government. What we need is for the government to not be involved in marriages at all. Let people choose if they want a marriage, where you're married in your church by your pastor, and the government stays completely out of it, or a civil union. Eliminate state marriage certificates and call them what they truly are, a civil union certificate. So, there's a lot that needs to change first. But I don't think anything's going to change in my lifetime at least. I think it's only going to get worse for men. We are all aware that with time, marriages typically lose their worth. Men have grown weary of women as more and more of them reveal their true natures, and how they trick them into marriages so they may live off of their resources while they monkey branch from one male to the next. However, the primary cause of the rise in non-intimate marriages is that women no longer want to be women. There, I did say it. Based on falsehoods spread by the awakened feminist ideology, women seek to adopt the gender role of males and want to behave in a masculine way in order to seize authority. 50% of marriages end in divorce, 70% of them initiated by women. They get most of everything following the divorce, including the kids. Women get sole custody of the kids around 80% of the time, and the father loses almost all his rights to those children, except for the financial connection. Yet you blame men for refusing to play this rigged game? Trust me, it's all a gift for the parties involved, but all a loss for the man. She benefits, the divorce court benefits, lawyers benefit, but the man loses it all. What a weird world we live in. One day it will happen when man will just say no for good, and the damage will be permanent. Divorce laws do need to be reformed, and prenups need to be more common. It's in the best interest of both men and women to do a prenup, while the couple is still on good terms, and just makes more sense. But women tend to get emotional about it by thinking it's because the man doesn't trust the woman. It also makes me sick when the children get put in the middle of all of that. Don't punish the kids by not letting them see your ex just because you're mad at the ex. The legal repercussions of marriage in the current climate are so severe that many men find it difficult even to consider getting married. The issue with it is that it especially has more to do with the West than other regions, such as Russia, Asia, or even Eastern Europe. Therefore, as family law has advanced and changed through time, it has become a situation where men face very high risk and little return from marriage. That is one of the issues that men have with marriage. Family law has advanced to the point where it is very high risk, but a poor return for men, and low risk, but a great reward for women, particularly if they want to leave it. 8 out of 10 divorces are initially started by women rather than men. I'm not sure whether there is a solution or a method to get around the fact that men are purposefully and strategically avoiding marriage. As several guys have often asked me, how can you satisfy the biological want to pass on your seed? I've kind of touched on this subject from time to time and discussed some other possibilities as well. By nature, men are designed to scatter their seed, while women are designed to basically seek the highest value men with who they can intertwine and use up their resources. That's how some women view marriage and the advantages of divorce, if that gives you a little bit of insight and helps you to understand a little bit more. I'm aware that some women may point out that their divorces didn't go that way and that they had to pay the man. It's all right. That could also occur sometimes. However, because of the nature of the intimacy market and how men and women connect, guys frequently find themselves in situations where they meet attractive women who end up marrying them. Meaning that when they get married, the guys are a few points higher than them. However, when the divorce occurs,
men are withdrawing from the dating scene in contemporary America, citing perceived difficulties in investing in relationships with contemporary women. This withdrawal appears in a decrease in men effectively looking for both easygoing dates and serious relationships, possibly portending a future where a critical part of ladies stay unmarried and without kids by 2045. Additionally, men are reluctant to donate sperm to sperm banks.
Single, and you are in the dating marketplace at that time, when that happens, say you're 37, 36, 38, 40, whatever it may be, and you are still on the hunt for that man, and you hit the wall and you can see in your face that you are no longer the face that you were at whether it was 30 or 35 or 25, whatever it is, you are going to be panicked, because now you know that you are going to compete with women who are younger, who are largely more fertile, not always, but largely speaking, yes, who have that youthfulness to them, who have that estrogen, progesterone, whatever the hormonal balance is that makes someone young, it's there, and you're losing it. And you become hyper aware of that, and that is why women begin to panic.
You know what I want to talk about, you guys? So I live in New York, specifically Brooklyn, and I be outside, enjoying summer as I should. And I've been going to the block parties, all of that good stuff, the day parties has been a time. But the problem is the men just stare at you. They just stare at you the whole time. They don't approach you. They don't want to get to know you. They don't want to, oh, do you want to drink? It's just a staring contest the whole time. I'm trying to figure out, how am I supposed to meet my future husband if the men are not approaching? Because I'm not approaching a man. Like, it's giving the men want to be chased now. That's what it's giving, and I don't like it.
women...
An internet-based video supports this feeling by upholding for men to investigate connections abroad, while putting dating present-day American ladies down. The hidden ramifications is that abroad connections might offer a better powerful for men, liberated from the apparent complexities related with American ladies. This pattern is indicative of a larger shift in gender dynamics and expectations in society. Current American ladies are frequently portrayed as requesting or testing to please, which drives men to look for choices. Different variables add to this discernment, including advancing orientation jobs, financial tensions, and social movements. Gender roles are changing, which is one important factor. As ladies progressively accomplish training and vocation amazing open doors, conventional jobs inside connections might become obscured or reclassified. This shift can make disarray and vulnerability for men, who might battle to explore these evolving elements. Because of their self-centeredness, current ladies frequently neglect the vital job of fathers in kids' lives. They might accept that a mother alone can give adequate childhood and backing to a youngster. In any case, over the long haul, they come to understand the meaning of a dad's presence. Sadly, by the time they come to this realization, it may be too late to change the situation, leaving them with only regret. This late realization emphasizes the significance of recognizing and appreciating both parental roles in a child's development. Fathers have a special and irreplaceable role to play in ensuring a child's emotional well-being, providing direction, and acting as positive role models. The child's well-being and development may suffer in the long run if this aspect is overlooked.
Let's talk about feeling lonely in your marriage. I think that this is something that has been swept under the rug for a very long time, And most women don't feel comfortable talking about it. I got divorced 3 years ago. Before that, I did feel extremely lonely in my marriage, and I didn't talk to anyone about it. I felt ashamed and like it was my fault and that I had failed, and it was all internally something I was dealing with. I felt like I was supposed to support my partner and never say anything bad about him. So if I talked to my friends about how I was feeling, it was not being a supportive wife. So all these things that aren't true. As women, we deserve to be supported and loved and taken care of, no matter what stage you're in, no matter how old your kids are. So just know that you deserve that. You deserve to be treated well and loved and supported, and that being lonely in your marriage is not okay. Work on it if you want to work on it. Leave if you want to leave, but know that you need to talk to people and that you will get through this one way or another.
If you look at this,
what do you bring to the table? Your soul. My soul is the table, the chairs, the rug underneath the table. My soul are the dinner plates. My soul is the dinner. My soul is the dessert. My soul is the breakfast, the lunch, the brunch. My soul is the knives, the forks, the spoons. My soul is everything. The table, the house, all that. My soul. And that's what's not going to be easily replaceable.
Does anybody want to get married? Because I need to get on this. Like, I need to have kids. I need to get married before my grandparents pass away, and I also need to have kids before my dog passes away, because he's a really good kid dog. And I'm running out of time. You guys, it is hard out here. So applications are open. If you want to. It'll be hard, but I'm fun. Sir, you better have more than fun. What else are you bringing to the table? Can you cook, clean, take directions well? What makes you think that I need to take direction from a man? First of all. Second of all, are these directions to a place I want to go? Like Home Goods. Yes, I love Home Goods. Gucci, give me the directions to Gucci. I will take those very well. Very well. Can I cook and can I clean? Yeah, also very well. Can you build a home? Can you build a home? Can you woodwork? Can you hunt? Can you hunt? Can you be a hunter? Let's fucking burn the patriarchy to the ground, because this is absolutely absurd, sir. John Wees.
In the advanced world, ladies employ impressive power and independence, fit for chasing after their goals unhindered. Their dependability principally lies with their feelings, trusting men to be excessively youthful to understand their profundity. In any case, this point of view disregards ladies' steady pursuit of excellence in all facets of life, with the exception of the early stages of relationships, in which they are required to put a lot of effort into their partners. While men explore these stages proficiently, ladies are seen to waver, frequently falling back on misdirection.
It's just not easy for the woman when she hits a certain age. We're talking about women who've kind of had this high life and then they've stopped getting offers because maybe now she's hit like 38, 40. And then it's almost like they've kind of gone into this dark hole now. It's so toxic, it's like horrible.
Well, here's the thing. Most men don't feel sorry for those women, and I'll tell you why. The reason men don't feel sorry for them is because the experience that she begins to go through when she's older is the experience 90% of men go through every single day. The guy who works at the post office, office, the guy who helped you pack your bag, the guy who delivered your Amazon parcel, the guy in your class, the guy that you worked with, most guys are invisible. It is only the high value guys that catches women's attention, the guy who's tall, attractive, in shape, successful. So when women who have had that taste of the high life, have been that desirable, gotten all the attention, everything, they then get to a point where now they're being treated how most guys are treated. Guys don't feel sorry for them. A lot of guys feel that if you wanted to have a partner, have a family and settle down, you get to that point in life and you haven't done that, it's because you fucked up, because you definitely had an abundance of opportunity to do that. So it's very difficult for a lot of guys to have sympathy, because for a lot of guys it's like, this is how it's been for us since day one. And most of us don't even get to a point where we can attract a girl like you. You've been there, you've had the chance to get those guys, but because you decided to play around, maybe you didn't want it serious, and that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but you have to accept what comes with the path that you choose.
We talk oftentimes about this "I don't need a man" philosophy. I don't need a man, I don't need a man. That's been indoctrinated into young women. The reason for that is that in many cases, men have been reduced to a wallet. So women are having these conversations about men and they're saying, well, I have a job, I have financial stability, so I don't need a man for that. And what they're forgetting about is all of the other things that guys bring to the table. They're forgetting about, that shoulder to cry on. They're forgetting about that sense of union when times get tough. They're forgetting about someone, starts breaking into your home and you don't want to handle that situation. You want your protector guy to handle that situation. Let's be honest. They're forgetting about, well, I'm going to want kids and I'm going to want my kid to have a father, a real father. And remember, women and men bring different things to the table. Dads and moms bring different things to the table. So a mom can't be a dad can't be a mom. It is different.
What if Summer comes to you, as pretty as she is, and says, Mom, I want to be a city girl?
She ain't gonna be no city girl.
So Summer ain't allowed to be no city girl?
No. I want her raised totally different. Like, I don't even want her to even see the light of day like that. Like, I really want her to just be like, like level-headed, a schoolgirl, and just on a whole nother ways. Like, I kind of was raised different, so I don't want to raise her up how I was raised. So, I'm a city girl, ain't nothing wrong with it, but I don't want that for my daughter.
Women-dominated fields like education and nursing. Women who hold higher degrees, higher education, can no longer afford to work because of the cost of childcare. So they're going even more into debt with their significant student loans and then their inability to work. Women are also in poverty more than men. We also don't get any paid parental leave. So women have to decide between bonding with their child or losing their job. You can't convince me that they aren't trying to force us into pregnancy, force us to be uneducated, and make sure that we are in the home and reliant on men. Today I read a quote that said, white women ignore the sexism to benefit from the racism. White women, it's time to get your head out of the sand to protect our future generation. It's time.
Like a child. Let's correct that statement, okay? Some people will do anything for attention and do anything to get it. They will be good to get attention and they will be bad to get attention. It's almost like that's part of human behavior. Stop answering to men when they make childish or pandering or accusatory statements. Does one mean like this one? Responding to someone who has interrupted a conversation that they aren't even invited to is like saying it's okay that they're there. Well, that's nice, but I'm definitely interrupting this conversation. Ignore, delete, block, whatever you have to do to not trigger a cortisol or endocrine or any kind of response in your body. It's about you. Now there's a radical change in priorities. Everything is about the individual and their feelings. The less that you acknowledge that it's happening, the more that it becomes background noise and the more that it literally just doesn't even exist anymore. But yet, here's a post about it. For women to recenter and heal and decenter men and not consider them to be a part of blah, 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 to not consider them. They aren't invited to this piece of ourselves that is working on ourselves, that is working on us being the center. Yet, ironically, one is still centering men in this conversation. And no amount of good behavior or bad behavior or tantrum throwing or gesturing is going to get precedence over me and my well-being. Once I'm centered in that space, I'm willing and able to listen to anybody. Just a thought here, but perhaps the best way to get others to listen to what one actually has to say would not be to start out generalizing a group of people just for the sake of grabbing their attention, and then perhaps one's words might actually carry more weight.
She accuses men of seeking attention, yet here she is, over 50 years old, making TikTok videos, talking about men. What irony, brothers. Ma'am, please sit down. A woman should be taking care of grandchildren or go play with her cat because she's on the wall, and the wall doesn't forgive. Women always want to grab a man's attention by any means necessary. They need it. They crave it. No matter their age, they always want men to notice them. So when they can't grab a man's attention anymore, they start making videos to criticize them. It's the law of the mirror. They reflect their own deficiencies. This woman could talk about a good marriage, but since she doesn't have one, she prefers to tell women to ignore men, not to give them attention. In short, she wants to spread her misery. That's why I told you, the wall doesn't forgive.
The largest group of butthurt, bitter pen pals I've ever seen in my entire life. It's absurd. Like, you'll establish mutual interest with somebody, exchange numbers, and then you want to good morning me beautiful until my head is ready to explode. Like, I don't know about y'all, but my attention span is not something to play with. You got 2 or 3 weeks of chit-chatting with me and FaceTiming before I expect you in person. All right? This isn't fucking summer camp. Let's keep in touch. No. I want to feel the weight of a man's I can't say it, it's TikTok, but you guys, you get what I'm saying. Like, we need to establish real life chemistry. I'm not going to keep talking to you, talking about I miss you. I don't know how. We've never met. More, if you miss me, why aren't you in front of me? Like, what's the issue here? Why aren't you making a move? Lock it in, buddy. Are you short? Do you smell? Are you poor? You can't afford a date? We can go to a fucking park. Like, are you married? What is the issue? Because now you acting sus. And I lose interest on suspect people. Like, what? Lock it in!
In 2024, can we stop asking men to take care of us and pay our bills immediately as soon as we meet them, as if they're obligated to financially make sure we're secure fresh out the gate? I will never understand this. I hear the craziest stories from men, how they'll go on a first date with a woman or their first conversation with a woman, and immediately she's making it a requirement and a standard to pay their bills and fly them out and take them shopping and drip them in designer and take care of their 3 kids. It's not even theirs, and this is the standard if you want to get to know me, let alone date me. That's insane to me. Like, I can't understand that or comprehend, because I feel like as a woman, you should hold your own and you should make sure your bills are taken care of on your own. I'm all for a man leading and providing and protecting, because that's what a man's supposed to do. And a part of providing is, of course, making sure that his woman is financially secure. But the key word there is his women. You can't just...
And that concludes today's discussion on MGTOW Voice. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on future videos. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.